Okay, so this is the key to section 7.2 part B. In this particular worksheet, we are dividing rational expressions. Now, the first thing you should do is change the division to a multiplication problem. All right, so remember that the first fraction you're going to keep as it is. So 7x squared divided by 6. But you're going to multiply, so you can change division multiplication. When you change division multiplication, you got to take the reciprocal. You have to take the reciprocal of this fraction. So the reciprocal of the fraction following the division symbol. And you saw y in a previous lesson. So we're going to get 7x squared divided by 6 times 2y divided by x. And now you do this just like you did the previous lesson. So all these are monomial factors. So I'm going to just go ahead and multiply the numerators together. I'm going to get 14x squared y divided by, and then the denominators will be 6x. All right, so that's where I'm at. All right, and now you're going to reduce. Okay, so when you reduce, you're going to get 2 into 6 is 3, and 2 into 14 is 7. And I have factors of x in both numerator and denominator, so I can reduce those. I have 2 factors in the numerator, 1 factor in the denominator, so when I reduce, the 1 factor of x here divides into one of those that is up here, and you're left with 1 factor of x in the numerator. And then the next factor is y, but there's no factors of y in the denominator. So the answer becomes 7xy divided by 3. So 7xy divided by 3. All right, number 2. So number 2, you have, again, division problem, so you want to change this multiplication. So we have x minus 4 squared divided by 6 times, and then the reciprocal, so we 2 over 3x minus 12. Okay, now the next step, remember, is to factor numerators and denominators. Well, but remember, this x minus 4 squared is already in factored form, so if you want to, you can write it as 2 factors of x minus 4, just like this. And 6 is a monomial, so leave that as 6. 2 is a monomial factor, leave that as 2. Now in this denominator, I can factor out a 3, so you get 3 times x minus 4. Okay, so that's where I'm at. All right, now the next step is to reduce your common factors. So reduce your common factors. So when I reduce, let's see, x minus 4 will reduce with this x minus 4. So when I do that, when I do this, I get factors of 1 in their place. And this x minus 4, there's no other factor of x minus 4 down here. Now a factor of 2 can reduce with this factor of 6. The GCF here is 2, so they have 2 divided by 2 is 1, 2 divided into 6 is 3. And so now we multiply out, so we get 1 times x minus 4 times 1 is x minus 4, 3 times 3 is 9, and times 1 is still 9. So I get x minus 4 divided by 9. Okay, the next one, again, changes to multiplication problem. So get 10x plus 4 divided by x squared minus 4 times the reciprocal, so x plus 2, divided by 5x cubed plus 2x. Okay, now let's factor. I can factor out a 2 in this numerator, so I get 2 times 5x plus 2 divided by, now this is the difference of 2 squares, so I get x minus 2, x plus 2 times x plus 2. Over here, I can factor out, the other thing I can factor out is an x. So I get x times 5x squared plus 2. Okay. Now, let's reduce. My first factor is a 2. There's no factor of 2 in the denominator. See, my factors are x minus 2, x plus 2, x, and 5x squared plus 2. My next factor is 5x plus 2. Again, there are no factors of 5x plus 2 in the denominator. Don't confuse this with 5x plus 2. That is not 5x plus 2, that is 5x plus 2. My next factor is an x plus 2. There's an x plus 2 here, so I can reduce those, just like this. And you're done. So the answer is going to be 2 times 5x plus 2 times 1 is 2 times 5x plus 2 divided by, and then x minus 2 times x times 5x squared plus 2. So there are going to be 3 factors in my denominator, but always put the monomial factor first. So it'll be x times x minus 2 times 5x squared plus 2. So that'll be your answer for that one. All right, number 4. So let's do number 4. Okay, so again, division, so change the multiplication. So I get 3x squared minus 10x plus 8 divided by 7x minus 14 times 21 divided by 9x minus 12. All right, so factoring the numerator here, that's a trinomial, so let's do the 2 binomials. I'm going to get 3x, x, and it looks like I'm going to need 4 and 2, and the 2 will go here, the 4 will go here, and the last sign is positive. These signs here are the same, so it would both be that middle sign here, so subtraction. And always check yourself before you go on. 3x times x is 3x squared. A negative 4 times a negative 2 is a positive 8. The outer is a negative 6x. The inner is a negative 4x. When I add them up, I get negative 10x. The denominator here I can factor out a 7, so I get 7 times x minus 2 times 21. And over here I can factor out a 3, so I get 3 times 3x minus 4. Okay, now let's go ahead and reduce. My first factor is a 3x minus 4. That can reduce with this one. So I'll cross them out, put ones in their place. My next factor is an x minus 2. There's one right here. Factor those out, put ones in their place. My next factor is a 21. That can reduce with that 7. The GCF of 7 and 21 is 7. So 7 to 7 is 1. 7 to 21 is 3. Now that 3 can reduce with this one. So those divide out as well. And so all I end up with in the numerator is 1 times 1 times 1, which is just 1. Divided by 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. And 1 divided by 1 is 1. So the answer is 1. Okay, number 5, you have, again, change the multiplication. So you have x squared minus x minus 12 divided by x minus 4 times x minus 5 divided by 2x plus 6. And so when you factor this numerator, I'm going to get x, looks like I'm going to need a minus 4 and a positive 3. And my denominator is x minus 4 times x minus 5 divided by, here I can factor out a 2, so I get 2 times x plus 3. So that's where I'm at. Alright, so now let's go ahead and reduce. This x minus 4 will reduce with this one. And remember, you put ones in their place because x minus 4 divided by x minus 4 is 1. X minus 4 divided by x minus 4 is 1. X plus 3 reduces with this one. And you get factors of 1 left. X minus 5, there are no other factor of x minus 5 down here, and it looks like you're done. So the answer will be 1 times x minus 5 is x minus 5. 1 times 2 times 1 is 2. So the answer is x minus 5 divided by 2. Alright, again, change number 6, change that to multiplication. So I get 4a squared minus 1 divided by a squared minus 4 times a minus 2 divided by 2a minus 1. So I just took the reciprocal. So remember, you change this multiplication and you take the reciprocal. Now let's factor. This right here is the difference of 2 squares. So I can factor this as 2a plus 1 times 2a minus 1. And always check yourself. 2a times 2a is 4a squared. A positive 1 times a negative 1 is a negative 1. The outer is a negative 2a. The inner is a positive 2a. When I'm going to add them up, I get 0, which is what I wanted. See, there's no middle term. There's no a term. All right, the denominator is also the difference of 2 squares. So I can factor this as a minus 2 times a plus 2 times. And then the numerator and denominator here I can't factor, cannot factor, so I leave them alone. And now I start reducing. This 2a plus 1 will not reduce anything down here. This 2a minus 1, it's right here, so I can factor those out. I'm left with factors of 1. A minus 2 will reduce with this one. So those factor out. I'm left with factors of a minus 1. And the answer then is 2a plus 1 times 1 times 1 is 2a plus 1. 1 times a plus 2 times 1 is a plus 2. So the answer is 2a plus 1 divided by a plus 2. Okay, so that's going to take care of the key for section 7.2, part